Welcome back to the channel. 289 hypo, 289 not so hypo. We're going to look at what makes the 289 hypo so special in comparison to a standard 289 engine. So let's get started. First thing to look at, good place to start, is with the block. Both of these are 289 engine blocks. They're both 1965-ish, so very similar. The part numbers, I think, are even the same. It's upside down, but you can see it. C5AE 6015E. C5AE 6015E. Only difference is being with the date codes. This one is January 1965. The standard one is, I think that's October of 1965. So actually a 1966 model year engine block. But essentially the same. However, we're going to take a closer look at the 289 hypo. Just got this back from the machine shop today. This is going in a 1965 Shelby GT350, original car. First thing to look at on these blocks, and really the big thing that's going to make the difference between a 289 hypo and standard 289, the main caps. You can see the thickness of the main cap here all the way through, one side to the other. And then this main cap, you can see how it's machined down on both sides. Considerably thinner here, way thicker here. That's the big thing. You know, Ford kind of thought guys were going to run these things pretty hard, so they made heavier duty main caps for these engines to add in the durability of the engines. Next thing to look at, we'll move to the connecting rods. These are the 289 hypo connecting rods, 3/8 rod bolts. These are the standard 289. These are little teeny tiny rod bolts. Huge difference, and difference is mainly the rods essentially carry the same part number. However, the machining process is different, and if I remember correctly, the balancing is as well. You can see how the standard caps, when they're balanced, they are machined really pretty deep. The 289 hypo rods do not have as deep of an area machined out for the balancing. These 289 hypo rods are the same for 289 hypos, and then were used later in Boss 302 Mustangs. Now let's take a look at the crankshaft. Basically, standard 289 crankshaft. The difference being the Brinell testing. What they would do is they would polish this area of this counterweight and look at it with a microscope. That would tell them the grain, any porosity in the crankshaft, and they would choose only select cores to use for the final machining to use in 289 hypos. Just making sure that graining is tight in the crankshaft would hopefully ensure that it would have more durability in a high performance engine. On original 289 hypo crankshafts, you would have one of these two marked with an orange mark, and usually the rods would have some orange marks on them as well. This crankshaft, before I sent it off to get all the machine work and the engine rebuilt, this crankshaft still had the orange mark on it. Went through the hot tanking process, the orange mark is gone. The rods had already been gone through and redone at some point, so the orange marks on them are gone long ago. But just something to know. If you ever see an original, you know it's never been machined or cooked or anything if it still has that orange paint on it. Some guys, after having blown up their original 289 hypo, possibly cracking it or damaging the block in some way, they could take their main caps and install them on a standard 289 block, and no one would be the wiser. In my opinion, I think that's no harm, no foul. The engine blocks are identical. There is no structural benefit to a block that would be considered an original 289 hypo block versus a block that was a standard 289 block. Again, we go back to the main caps. The main caps are what make the difference in the blocks. Here we have the 289 hypo timing chain set and a standard 289 timing chain set. On the standard set, it's basically pretty much what everybody's used to seeing. The 289 hypo set is very different. I'll start off with the cam gear. If you noticed, it's very thin, a flat area here, as opposed to the standard gear, which has the raised area. There was a purpose for this. I don't know exactly why, but if you look at the camshaft retainer plate, it's got a raised area, which rides in against that. Basically, a space a chain off the block. Without that spacer, this gear would sit too close to the block and the chain would hit the block. On this gear, you don't need to worry about that because it's got a built-in spacer. That's something you got to definitely keep in mind when you're building one of these hypos. The crankshaft gear, also a very different piece. If you put it up alongside the standard gear, we'll try to mesh these two gears up properly. You can see with the gear and this hatchet right here, which is what they call it, it's the same thickness as the standard gear. The 289 hypo gear itself is thinner without this hatchet. Now it gets to this hatchet. Basically, it's a kind of a counterweight, supposedly due to the size of the rods being a little bigger, more weight inside. They felt the need for this hatchet, and supposedly it allowed more counterweight to be moved inside the engine instead of being on the outside. I don't know if any of that's true. I don't know if this just helped absorb some of the harmonics from the bigger rods. No clue, but it's there, and it's a unique piece that has to be there when you have a 289 hypo. Here we're looking at the balancer. You can see it's much thicker than a standard balancer, heavier as well, no doubt. And part number C50EA has the timing marks on the side. Somebody took the time to write them in white, which is nice. But you can see it's definitely a beefier piece, counterweighted, heavier duty, definitely way different than the production version, and unique to the 289 hypo. Here we have a side-by-side comparison of the standard 289 cylinder head versus the hypo 289 cylinder head. You can see the 289 hypo has a screw-in stud, whereas the standard 289 just has a press-in stud. There's one main reason for this. 289 hypos, all of them, had a solid lifter camshaft, which required more aggressive spring pressure. So Ford figured it was a smart thing to put screw-in studs in the heads instead of just having the standard press-in studs like the regular 289 did. Another difference in these cylinder heads. These are cast-in spring cups. Basically, what they do is help keep the spring aligned on the cylinder head, again, under higher RPM usage. Standard 289 engines do not have that. Looking at the cylinder heads from the combustion chamber side, standard 289 heads, 289 hypo heads share the same combustion chamber. They also share the same diameter intake and exhaust valves. There's really no difference here between two cylinder heads. Another difference we're going to look at is a casting number right here at the corner of the cylinder head. All 289 hypos had either 21, 20, or 19 cast on this front corner, or back corner, depending on how the engine is in the car and how you're looking at it. This one has what looks like a 16, so definitely not a 289 hypo head. 289 hypo and standard 289 engines all shared the same rocker arms. They also had built-in pushrod tubes or guide tubes, because these are just basically rail rocker arms. They move anywhere you want. They don't have guide plates, so the cylinder heads acted as the guide plates. The 289 hypo used a cast iron 4-barrel intake, which was the same intake used by the A-Code 225 horsepower 289 engine. A set of free-flowing exhaust manifolds were used on the 289 hypo and were unique to that engine. Also unique to the 289 hypo was its dual-point distributor. There are two versions, an earlier and later version. The early version has an oil wick, the later version does not. The one you need to look for is the one that would be correct part number wise and date code for your car. There's a lot of information out there with regard to the solid lifter camshaft specifications. I took my information from this pamphlet written by Ack Miller, who was the Ford Performance Advisor back in the early mid-60s. So I would consider it to be very accurate. The camshaft specs are as follows. Duration is 306 degrees. Intake opens at 44 degrees before. Intake closes at 82 after. Exhaust opens at 92 before. Exhaust closes at 34 after. Valve overlap 78 degrees. Valve lash at 20 thousandths. Valve lift 0.477. So that'll do it as far as the ins and outs of the 289 hypo engine versus the standard 289 engine goes. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.